All right, this is Monsterhearts 2, our third series of Mercy Falls, the mainline Mercy Falls story, because now we have a spin-off Monster Hearts Mercy Falls story going on that takes place 30 plus years in the past. But this is our modern day Mercy Falls, and I think I'm not going to go through cats because I think all of us, the five of us, should be cool with all that stuff. But I do want to just say kind of generally what's going to happen today. I want to reintroduce the characters, just do the quick pitches on all the characters, just so we kind of have that for anybody who's watching the video, I guess. And also, um, Fraser is kind of like technically like being reintroduced into the story. So I'd like to do that. I will do a basic summary of what happened last time. Um, I know that some of us have listened to the edited AP of the last one, and that's cool. If you have not, that's also cool. I'm going to basically just pick out the big picture things that happened that we need to be reminded of, and then we'll get going with with the continuation of that story. And then once we kind of do the sort of like recap, I may check in with you guys about just a couple of little housekeeping things vis-a-vis your characters and some of your moves. I was kind of reviewing some things and kind of reviewing how the second series went, and I want to just clarify a couple of things and make sure we're all kind of swimming in the same direction on some stuff, and then we'll get going. So let's just reintroduce the characters really quickly. Fraser, why don't you start with Lilith?
Sure. Lilith is a redhead who was roughly based off of Brave, but became something very different. She's a fae. She was called into the woods, and last we saw her, she had just gotten her jury of fae, and that was kind of it, I think. She lives with her dad. Their parents are divorced. The mother lives in a nebulous city elsewhere, and she has pretty much just come into her own, kind of. Like, she was super shy and awkward, and I think after the Jury of Fae incident, I'm going to be playing her towards more of a the other move that I'm going, the Wild Hunt. So I'm going to try to like make her go that direction now, I think.
What does the Wild Hunt do?
The Wild Hunt is when you draw upon your most feral manner, echoing in lithe moments of a cat or a ferocity of a wolf. Uh, Add one to your roll to turn someone on. So I'm gonna try to play that way after she's sort of had this like awakening with her jury and
Yeah, I
sort
like
of
that.
like,
You started kind of demure and like shy, and now you're becoming like this more fully realized self confident person or whatever. So yeah, that's
mm-hmm.
cool. Your Jury of Fae, I remember when they came on screen. I remember like you basically had an orgy with them,
Yeah.
and that was great. I think the orgy took place like between your great fairy mother's legs, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like a weird birth thing or something. It was all
Yeah,
very
there was a
strange.
there was a
It
birth
was weird.
motif. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a whole motif going. You're right, a whole birth
Yeah.
motif happening.
Yeah.
Um, I want to know. It's okay if you just have like some sketchy ideas at this point, but I just want to get a sense of this Jury of Fae. I want to name some of them for one thing, and then also I want to figure out like where they fit in Mercy Falls. Like, are they new students? Are they just people that you can kind of like go into that Fae place and talk to, so they don't otherwise interact with Mercy Falls? If you want them to be a little bit more tied into Mercy Falls, I think it would be great if there's just like a single sort of representative of the group. I kind of don't want to manage a bunch of Fae NPCs, that
Yeah.
roaming around. So
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I think from what I recall from the first series, they didn't seem too interested in like mortal machinations anyway, right? So I think they might just stay beyond the veil and be like a presence for her there that maybe I communicate with when I gaze into the abyss and stuff.
Okay.
But it doesn't seem like they had any interest in the human world at all, and the concept of time even. So
Interesting. I think that might change.
yeah.
And in this in the sense that Thomas is kind of on the board, right?
Mm,
And you didn't get to interact with Thomas much when you were last playing, but in the second series, Thomas was a major character, and Thomas has designs on the town, on the forest, on the power that he believes exists there. And in fact, Big Man kind of like took the scales off his eyes a little bit, almost like taught him like some secrets about the forest, right? Like in that little, if you recall, like he taught a math class, right? It was a it was a very interesting math class, and so anyway, I think there might be like an opportunity for like the maybe these like sort of to have the classic sort of dueling Fey courts business or whatever, right? That
yeah.
might happen. So that's
If
just I think that's a distinct possibility.
if it goes like that, it'd be neat if, since they themselves were talking about how time is really weird in the Fey realm in the forest. It would be even cool if it was like, my Fey jury is disassociated with Thomas's just from the sheer length of time. Like my jury is in like some pocket of the Fey realm where it's like 1,000 years after Mercy Falls or 1,000 years before Mercy Falls or
Hmm.
something like that. That might be neat, but we can just figure it out as it
Yeah,
happens.
you'll play with it. We'll figure it out. Cool. Awesome. Your conditions. What conditions do you have right now? We should decide if those still apply.
Oh, awkward and what's wrong with me?
Hmm.
I don't think
I
I
think
ever cleared awkward.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, awkward might still be there just because of reasons, but what's wrong with me is probably gone because I feel like you probably have a better understanding of who you are, right? So
Yeah, I think that's right.
cool. Awesome. Does anybody else have any questions for Fraser about Lilith? Right. Let's go into. I'm just going in the order of the sheet. Let's go to Margot. Kevin, give us the quick pitch on Margot.
Okay, so whole lot of stuff happened in Margot's messed up life in the last season of Mercy Falls. Found out that her father was Shadow Master, whatever the number
55.
was.
Yeah.
And see, Margot got shot. Chad thought she got killed. Margot went dark of self to come back from the edge. Her father subsequently killed himself in the bathroom of their trailer because he wigged out when she walked back in the door and pretty much just laid into him verbally. And she's kind of become the manifestation or strong armor of the law for whatever lurks in that cave out in the woods, and now have that custom gaze into the abyss move where if I'm looking to expose the lies, I've got pluses when I do that. And then I also, when I did gaze into the abyss, I saw the ninja nun who was
Right.
sharpening a
Yeah.
steak, and it was close to the wrap up of last season when I let Serena know that the nun was gunning for her, and she had told me that I was next on the list.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and we're going to talk about that nun before as we get started. Yeah, I like you have become almost like the new avatar of whatever's in the woods, right? Whatever Big Man was, you kind of have assumed that role a little bit. And I will be curious to find out now that you have that sort of like gaze to the abyss. Um, oh wait, what's this note that's coming up?
Yeah,
He
that's
didn't go darkest self. There was a choice between darkest self or like aligning themselves with Big Man, and you went Big Man instead of darkest self.
Right.
that's right.
Right.
Yep, I
Right.
forgot that. Yeah, and I remember one of my closing lines is, "I'm going to expose all the lies in Mercy Falls."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I think so I like the idea of like you kind of like wanting to like peel back the veil as it were on Mercy Falls, and I'm going to tee that up for you really nicely when we get started. So And you're a werewolf. That's just one for the purposes of the video. Just gonna make that clear. Awesome. Let's go to Jonah. Philip, tell us about Jonah.
Yeah, Jonah is he is a queen. That's his playbook. But I think more importantly to know is that he is kind of the leader of a weird sex cult that has roots in the forest, but it's was kind of revealed at the end of the first season that he's got this contract with Thomas, sort of, and yeah, he's kind of had a bit of a tumultuous journey as far as his cult goes. He lost someone, and then he got Mr. Thompson, which was pretty useless and awful. But yeah, so I actually haven't gotten to re-listen to season 2 recently, so I'm thinking you can probably help fill in the details.
Yeah. We'll fill in the gaps. But he's a queen. They do some ritual sex magic stuff in the woods, and we're going to talk about your relationship with Thomas and stuff because I have some questions there, and I want to kind of tease them out and figure out where we're going to go with that stuff. The really big thing that happened, I guess, like the sort of like big point of drama was Serena and Margot and Serena's new little gang were kind of forming up on one side, right? Versus you and maybe Thomas, but basically it was kind of like, we're gonna clash, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
The brakes have been put on that for a reason I'm going to talk about, but
okay,
right. Oh yeah, and as Kevin points out, you ratted out Margot to special.
Hey,
Rhodey went and told Special Agent Bellefontaine that Margot was responsible for the killings. So, but we'll talk about some of that stuff in a minute. Finally, Ellen.
Yeah.
Tell us about Ellen a little.
So, Ellen's a ghost, and she's very, very confused right now. A lot of things have happened, and she only knows a few things, and that's that a lot of people need to get out of the way so she can have Thomas to herself. And Jonah's an ass, and he's probably first on the block. If I can do that, I don't know, because he was really rude and shitty to me, and but on the other hand, I really need, because with Serena, and yeah, so she's a ghost.
Good. Yes, and I think what's going to be really interesting with Ellen is for this series, I think, is continuing to explore like her trauma. I think that's like a major part of that character's of the skin and her story so far. And also the Thomas thing, you're right. I'm glad you bring that up. And we'll talk about that a little bit in the recap. So let's talk about what we need to know going into season 3. So series 1 and series 2 were occupied, consumed by murders, right? Kyle Norwood's disappearance, subsequent murders Mr. Thompson was still arrested for. There was evidence the forest or something or whatever tried to pin it on Serena by making it look like a vampire thing, but we think that maybe that it only wanted certain people to see that, right? Just to create some conflict. Big Man is there, and he's almost like a sort of like looking out for the interests of the woods, right? And finds it offensive, like all those strange supernatural creatures, as well as like the locals, like treatment of the woods, right? And he believes fundamentally that the town is a town of lies, right? And so we've got these murders, we've got Big Man, then Special Agent Edward Bellefontaine swoops in because he doesn't buy the story about Mr. Thompson, so he begins his interviews and investigation in the town. Thomas is on scene and causing chaos in his way, right? Being very manipulative, but also very petty, petulant, right? And kind of just kind of like, just sort of like ego driven and selfish. All this stuff is going on, right? The town is consumed by this stuff and it's taking place in a matter of days, right? Like just days. And so that's kind of like, we're at this really, really like heightened point. But then Sister Mary Edward Price arrived, and she will have a different effect on the town. And that's how we're going to kind of kick off the series. And we're going to talk about that in a moment. But before we do, I want to clear up just a couple of mechanical things. So Jonah, you have the infernal dark power stuff going on, right? As part of the moves you've taken. You have the soul debt, right? I want to clarify this to some degree because it feels like a weird tension that he is both a member of your clique but also your dark power, and I'm okay with that weird tension, but I think it may lead to like strange results in the fiction if you have like all this like mechanical control over him via him being in your clique, but then he also has all this like weird control over you because he's your dark power. It feels like a strange relationship, and I want to make sure it's like the most satisfying thing we can do here.
Well, honestly, I feel like Jonah probably doesn't like Thomas, so
so
we can totally move in a different
not being in
direction.
the clique or what?
Yeah, that's fine.
But he's still your dark power.
Yeah.
Or do you want to change
For
that?
now.
Okay.
I mean, I'm open to changing it. Like I said, I don't feel like I guess one thing that kind of I feel like changes with the dark power is that I feel like once they start coming more into the action, it gets kind of complicated. So, I mean, my main playbook is the Queen, so I think I'm going to lean harder into that.
Okay.
And maybe not too much onto the soul debt stuff.
Well, so what I may do, well, that's good. I think, what do you think about this? I think there's like some space to like basically withdraw Thomas a little bit from the melee, as it were, right? And maybe he's still a student in school, and Ellen still clearly has designs on him, and I think he's still scheming for his fake court. I think that's all still happening, but right. I think that like we could definitely like kind of we can kind of promote him to big bad status, right? And not have him be like so on your guy's level, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's kind of always been my impression, was that he was just kind of faking it on our level just for like shits and giggles. Right. But he's really like a much more powerful force.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. We can kind of change his function narratively pretty easily and still maintain like Ellen's obsession and your thrall, right? Like we can still kind of like we can still maintain all that stuff and still keep him in there, but not like be out there in the middle of the woods during your Mexican standoff with Serena, right? Like we can make him not be there during those moments, and I think that'll be okay. Ellen, how do you feel about that? Like of like Thomas being this like more, this more like ominous or exalted or secretive figure, like in the fiction.
Yeah, I like that. I think that makes it a little more challenging. Certainly for me, Ellen's a person, and the struggle she has is that she's completely subject to other people's whims.
Right.
And so it makes sense that Thomas is this power, like everything else that's battering her around.
Because honestly, it almost feels like last time, it almost felt like Ellen was the one who had Thomas as her dark power, right? Like it almost felt like that, in a way. We can get there with I can make that work. I can make that work for Jonah too, but I do think we need to kind of withdraw him just a little bit from our sort of like close fiction. So
more like she wanted him to be her dark power, and then she just spat him out her out by the side of the road. So
right, yeah. This is good. It's a good dynamic. I don't think I have any other issues there, though. I just want to kind of talk about that a little bit. And then what other things? We already talked about the fake court. That was one of the questions I had. And we also talked a little bit about like Margot's new sort of mission. So yeah, we're all kind of covered there, I guess, as far as like housekeeping and things. Do you guys have any like housekeeping questions or anything you need clarified before we begin?
I need editing permission on the character sheet.
All right. 1 second. I'll just give you guys an edit link. I thought it was, but you never know.
At least the one I
could we maybe go over what happened at the end of last season? Because my memory is a little foggy. I know we're in like the standoff situation, but
well, actually, the thing was Serena, like she got Ben and Chad on her side, right? She's almost like forming her own little clique. And then she went and convinced Margot, and I don't think like Margot is feeling like, deferential to Serena, but I do think that Margot was like, yeah, fuck Jonah. And then basically like it was a whole like we're gonna move on them, but then it didn't happen, right? Like I'm trying to recall like what, like I think just like the next school day happened, and then everyone was like, just okay, we're at school now, So,
yeah, they were like cruising for you guys at nighttime, but a whole bunch of shit went down with the gunshot and like all this other stuff. So Serena never really found you guys, and then it was the next day at school, and then the nun showed up, and that was about it.
Right, and like Kevin put in the notes here, Jonah, you were trying to find Wolfsbane to like go after Margot. It was a two-way street, right? Like you guys were like at each other for lots of good reasons. That's what happened, and but we're almost going to like reset things a little bit, mostly because principally because Serena's not here, but also because I want to really like emphasize the effect of Sister Mary Edward Price on the setting, okay? Because I introduced her as a brand new thing at the very last minute, last time, right? And we're going to see some of her effect on the community and on the high school, and I think that will sort of like be able to it'll let us sort of reset the fiction a little bit, like reset the like dial down the like crazy just a little bit so that we can like build it back up again, basically. So
can I reset my harm?
you may, yeah. This is let's actually talk about conditions and harm. Everybody can put your harm back to 0 because some time is going to have passed. We should talk about your conditions, though. Take a look at your conditions and see what you think does or does not apply anymore. If you don't think something applies anymore, just clear it. You don't need to. You can just kind of mention it, and we'll, as long as I'm pretty open to this. So.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pull off I am a lie because now my job is to get rid of the other lies.
Right. Yeah, I'm into that.
I have
vindicated is not even a super strong condition. I would clear that just because it's not great. So, I mean, it's like not for where we're at. It doesn't really work for where we're at. I don't think.
I think it would be.
Sorry, I was going to say. I feel like when I put the Wolfsbane in the desk, Jonah stopped feeling like he was not the shit because that was.
Yeah.
My aggressive masculinity is well restored.
It'd be kind of interesting if when Lilith showed up, Thomas wasn't there, because like the last thing Lilith remembered kind of was like was, if we're kind of retconning it, she probably didn't even meet Thomas that day, because that would be weird, right? Because it ended with her being like, "Hey, Thomas," and then the next series she wasn't there.
Yeah. And importantly though, just because like Lilith's absence actually doesn't mean much in the second series because it was a day. Right?
Yeah.
Like you could have just been homesick, right? Like it was just a day. And so
yeah, but I think it would be funny and interesting if it kind of plays into the weirdness of Mercy Falls if now she shows up and Thomas isn't there and everyone's like, who's Thomas or whatever, except for the PCs,
Oh, like Thomas is kind of like, like he's like, yeah, that's interesting. I've got some ideas. We'll talk about it. That's an interesting angle though. Jonah, are you still paranoid? Or are you still a lie? You're still a lie, I think.
I feel like I'm still a lie. I can't remember what the paranoid was about. So
it was when Tony accused you of being paranoid because you were saying, "Oh, Serena's clearly dangerous." And he's like, "No, she's not. She's fine. Like we hang out all the time." And I think for reasons that maybe that you're going to learn here in a minute, I think you can probably remove paranoid.
Okay.
And then Ellen, do you want to reset the clock on traumatized too? Or?
Traumatized has a mechanical effect for me.
Okay, cool. Right.
So I'll leave that in. I did clear. I had marked some +1 forward from something, and I cleared that. So because I don't know what that was. So
awesome. Okay, cool. In that case, let's just take like a real quick bio break, get a drink, and we'll get started. Right?
So, Kevin, what have you played at Gamehole Con?
I only played in one game that Rob Wieland ran.
Oh.
That was Firefly. Then I ran a Call of Cthulhu scenario, modern one from Stygian Fox Thursday night. I ran Monsterhearts Friday night and Monsterhearts yesterday afternoon.
Oh, okay.
That was a ton of fun running Monsterhearts.
Do you do anything special for a one-shot with that?
I just try to make a point of moving the story along so they could have a climax. And I very much leaned in hard to, at the beginning, tell them, remember, let's do this like it's a CW show. We're going to wrap the episode up, but then there'll be something there to come back to. You know, if I run the next episode next year at the con.
Nice, nice.
A lot of fun. The players really got into it, so it was a blast.
Great.
What game was that, Kevin?
I ran 2 games of Monsterhearts that I set at a camp.
Nice.
So it was a lot of fun. Yep.
Did it have like a sort of like serial killer or like slasher flick vibe?
Very much
Yeah.
so. It was Camp Arawak, which is the actual name of Camp Sleepaway from that slasher movie.
Nice.
So,
I'm actually I'm doing something kind of similar in Mercy Falls 83 where because it's 83 and I really want to emphasize like 80s tropes and culture. We've instead made it, we didn't do a homeroom seating chart. We did a detention weekend seating chart. So it's like the Breakfast Club. And so it's this really small scale story of like these kids who are in detention, right? For the weekend. And I plan on introducing a sort of like 80s slasher flick, like back the thing going on in the background too. So
That's great.
yeah, it's
I
pretty exciting.
gave somebody a suggestion for a all flesh must be eaten thing where they're camp counselors at a camp, and at the start of the session, and they did this. I didn't see it done, but you have to cut out these like paper dolls, like you know where you fold them, and so you have all these paper things, and essentially then those are the kids that you have to protect. And as one gets eaten by the zombies, you have to tear it off the story. You had to write names on each of them too.
I'm into that. That's really good. Awesome. It's mid-December. Roughly 2 months after all the events that we've been seeing. 2 months ago, Mercy Falls was consumed by missing children, murders, a bad apple teacher, an FBI investigation. The town was in a tizzy, on fire. People were looking over their shoulders. People were freaking out. It was all bad. The town was on the precipice and ready to fall over the side, right? This is not the first time Mercy Falls has experienced this kind of chaos and upheaval and trauma. In fact, it happens a lot. And yet, the town always goes back to normal. It always goes back to an even state. The old timers call these little flare-ups the woods being fussy. Things always go back to normal. And Sister Mary Edward Price was brought in after these events to offer grief counseling services to the children of Mercy Falls. And she did a really good job. She, through a series of counseling sessions, interviews, home life check-ins, Sister Mary Edward Price has smoothed everything over. And in the community too. Sister Mary Edward Price is there with baked goods at whatever community function is going on. She's there. Oh, You're having a little bit of trouble in your marriage. I heard. I happen to be in the neighborhood. And she stops in, offers a little bit of counseling, and everything goes back, just goes great. Dawn's parents haven't talked about Dawn in weeks. Kyle Norwood's parents haven't talked about Kyle in weeks. Almost no one talks about Margot's dad. It's all just cool and easy. And people love her. And yet, Margot, there's trouble. You believe that she intended to kill Serena, and then you. Serena has been missing this entire time. It has gone totally unremarked by the school administration, by anyone. It's almost like she was never there. Thomas withdrew from class, and he now just lives in a great big house on a hill behind an iron gate, and he's been little seen. Sister Mary Edward Price is a force to be reckoned with, but it's a force of calm and soothing validation and reassurance. And the only thing on anyone's mind right now is the Yule Ball, which is coming up in just a couple days. The Yule Ball. So that's where we find ourselves. I want to go around the table and find out, because you all haven't forgotten, right? even if the town at large and the school at large doesn't care about this stuff anymore, you all remember it. You all remember what was going on. And I don't think any of you have sat down with Sister Mary Edward Price, which is maybe why you're still obsessed with these things. I'd like to just go around the table and find out how you've been feeling the last couple of months, knowing what you know, shootings in the woods, bodies, murder, the FBI. Clean slate. Whoever wants to jump in.
I figure that Ellen's thing is about burying memories and forgetting these things, and there's that kind of mixed up with her desire, and kind of Serena's gone, but she kind of knows that there's something there, and she's got that kind of low level anxiety trauma. The kind of thing that you would prescribe meds for if she weren't dead, and that's just keeping her on edge, trying to fit in with this classroom of popular kids, and it just not working, and being resentful when new kids come in and they're super popular, and she's still not. And of course, she'll put her stakes on anything that's out of her reach. So that's where she's at still. Why can't she be there?
Yeah. A follow-up. How do you feel about the fact that Thomas, who you were, despite the sort of strange, unusual nature of your courtship, how do you feel about the fact that, I mean, despite that weirdness, like you thought like, oh my gosh, this is a real thing. This is a thing that I have in my life. This is a thing I can pursue, right? How do you feel about the fact that he's like withdrawn? He's still in town, but like people don't see him very often. He's just withdrawn into this mansion. What have you done in the intervening weeks?
I imagine that she's tried to do the clamber over the fence at night. That's her specialty, but can't. Like there's something about the gates that keeps her from going over.
Yeah.
And she's every once in a while she scuttles around the edges, running the fence line. Probably every couple of weeks, she may wake up there, or she may wake up with the evidence of having done that. In her sort of head, she's not thinking about that, but when she sleeps, it comes back to her.
I would also like to add, that's good, thank you. I would also like to add that these intervening weeks, these nearly 2 months, your parents have been as nice to you as they have ever been. I mean, they're showing an interest in the things you're doing. They are showing an interest in each other. It's like genuinely good in your house, right now. And that's an unusual circumstance for Ellen.
And yet I know that there's a point at which the hammer is going to come down on my skull. Not explicitly, but I know that.
Waiting for
I
that
know
shoe
that
to
this
drop.
can't last. I can't trust this.
Yeah. Good. Jonah, what about you?
I think it's been kind of crazy because in this time of like peace, Jonah has kind of become like a bit more of a rebel. So he's like started going around with Tony and like doing graffiti around town.
But that's
Tony's
almost
an artist, right?
But that almost has like a normalness to it, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, like every town has a misfit tough, right? Who does graffiti, right?
Yeah, totally. And I think that what's her name? The new lady in town, Mrs. Forsyth.
Which who are we talking about? The vice principal is Mrs. Forsyth.
Oh, sorry. Who's the woman who's coming to town and is changing everything?
Oh, the nun, Sister Mary Edward Price.
Oh yeah, I think Sister Mary Edward Price came by Jonah's neighborhood, and obviously, she was spending a lot of time at Ben's, but I think she came next door, and I want to pitch this. Maybe Jonah and Margot are in like a group home now because Child Protective Services got involved or something. I don't know.
I would be cool with that having been threatened, but I still want to be at the trailer because I want to see how my mom's behaving with Sister Mary Edward Price being in town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like my mom is.
I was there for a bit while she was going through some therapy or something, so I may have spent a couple weeks there and then got to get back out. That would be cool.
Very curious, incidentally, that because you were all closest to the trauma, the grief that Sister Mary Edward Price is supposed to be helping you cope with. She has not talked to any of you yet.
Yeah, I'm wondering, is she has she separated us in classes too? Like, is there a sense that she's trying to isolate us?
Yeah, probably.
Anything?
There might be like little hints of that, right? Like, oh, we had we had to change everyone's schedule up a little bit. Now this teacher will be teaching this class when we're going to need you guys to go over here. Yeah, I'm sure stuff like that is going on too. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm sorry, Jonah. Let's go back to you. So, so back to your group home idea, or like we finish that thought.
I just thought it was it would be like interesting to switch things up a bit in that way. But I mean, if that's not a fun direction, I mean, I can totally still be at home. And
yeah, I think just being at home would be like the, I think I do like the idea of you like kind of like devolving almost to just like typical thug behavior as opposed to like ritualistic thug behavior, right? Like,
right,
you're like a normal bad kid now,
yeah. And I think that as far as like my home life goes, I think that she hasn't been around, but obviously I don't have like a real room at home and stuff. So maybe it's like cause for concern or something. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
that's what
think that
I was even gonna ask, like, if your parents got counseling, are they all like, we prepared a room for you. You have a real room now, and
Yeah,
then
I kind of
and
like that idea actually. Like maybe Sister Mary Edward's been checking in on your folks because she's been checking in on a lot of people. And maybe they're like, maybe your parents are treating you better now, right? I think that's in, like they're your mom is trying to reach you, right? She's no longer throwing Ben in your face, right? That kind of thing.
uh well, she might be.
Right. Yeah. Well, but yeah, that's true. That's fair enough. But like, I think I mean, I do like the idea of like everyone's parents are trying, right, to be better.
I really like this idea that like yeah, my like Kevin was saying in the chat, she like emptied out the craft room and like put in a bed and there's all this nice stuff in there.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I I went out and got like some like satanic heavy metal posters and put them up on the walls, and I don't even sleep there most nights. I'm just gone a lot. So she went through all this trouble and I'm just like, fuck it.
Right. But see, that feels like normal to me. That feels like the way it
Right.
should be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. Margot. A lot to unpack with Margot. So how do you feel about these developments, Margot?
Well, now it's completely obvious that this entire town is complicit in one big lie of just, if nothing else, refusing to look at what's happened. And it feels like maybe that this Sister Mary Edward Price is facilitating this group lie. So I probably feel really threatened by her. Plus, I'm definitely scared. And it's that whole shoe waiting to drop thing, because I had that vision. She's sharpening the stake, saying, I'm coming for your little vampire friend first and then you. Well, my vampire friend has been missing for 2 months. I presume I tried calling her place and it's just like, oh, everything's fine. And couldn't get any answers about where Serena is or isn't, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think I'd like to suggest that her parents aren't around either. Like, I think
Oh,
their
they're
house is
gone
just like
too.
their house is just locked
Okay.
up, and nobody knows where they're at. So.
And then I'm curious,
And no one seems to care. That's important too. Like, no one seems to care where they're at.
did Sister Mary Edward Price come and offer counseling to my mother after my father shot himself?
I think that would be interesting. Yeah, I think that would be really interesting. And I think that like kind of in a piece with what we've been talking about. I think your mom has stopped being, like I think she's like moved past her stuff with your dad, right? Like it's
Yep.
still sad. We mourn him, but
Right, but she's not debilitated by grief
right?
or anything, and maybe even seemed to move through it too fast for me. And even though I kind of hated my dad, there's definitely a sense of still lost something, because at one point we did have a good relationship. It was just a long time ago. And
Right.
now I know there's no chance I'll ever have that again. And then just a couple little side things. Margot's gotten a tattoo, because when we last left, she was looking at tattoos on her inner forearm. She's
Tentacle
got
tattoos,
it.
right?
Yeah, it's a infinity symbol with a tentacle. And then she also picked up a secondhand leather biker jacket that says Hounds of the Moon. And she's wearing that all the time now that it's gotten cooler out.
Nice. Yeah, I just found that one hanging up in a secondhand shop, huh?
Yeah, what luck.
I know, what
That
luck.
spoke to her. It's real beaten up.
I love it. Lilith, what about you?
I like the idea of my dad acting all weird too, right? Because when we first established him, he was sort of, I stay with my dad and he does whatever I like. He lets me do whatever I want and doesn't really like care that much. And he's sort of seemed like not like a deadbeat, but like disinterested and disassociated. And now he's sort of like, I like the idea that he has like this invasion of the body snatcher thing, right? Where he's got this like 180 personality where he's like super interested in me and like being an actual parent, and it's all like, yeah, disconcerting and weird, but good for Lilith.
I love it. That's good. Yeah, because he was like he wasn't nearly as like derelict as Marco's dad, but
Yeah, he was just like,
he was just kind of oblivious and selfish, right?
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like I think we described him as like he was like he was like the hot shit in high school, and then he never like tried to get to learn any skills or get his own like profession or anything, and so he just depended on your mom, right? Like,
Yeah.
and your mom, I think, was not a popular girl in high school, so he just married her because she, you know, was she was a go-getter, and she was bringing in the bacon, so
Yeah, and then she had enough and was out.
yeah. And we never really established like why you got stuck with him, but
I think Lilith chose him because of the fact that he let her do whatever she wanted. So she was sort of like not a spoiled kid, but liked the freedom that afforded, where I think her mother had like a much firmer hand. And also just the way that I thought of her before was sort of like high powered and corporate, maybe didn't even have time for a kid anyway in the city, right? Like,
oh, got it. Yeah.
I would be like a kid in New York going to school with a mom who was never present or something like that if I chose that life.
Yeah.
Versus dad, who was just like, you can do whatever you want. Egos for days. Live the dream.
Awesome. I want to just, we're going to get to scenes in a minute, but I really want to tease all this stuff out before we go. I want to find out like how you each feel about Serena being missing. I mean, Margot, I think we've got you covered, but everybody else, like, Lilith, how do you feel about Serena being missing? You guys are having a little budding romantic thing.
Yeah,
before.
I think that Lilith is really upset about it, and even more upset that she probably can't even really talk to the other people about it, right? Because they don't even like Serena. There was probably a point in the last few weeks where she would like idly bring Serena up in conversation to like test the waters, and people would be like, you know, who's that bitch or whatever, right? Like, who cares? She was mean or whatever. So Lilith maybe is trying to do her own investigation, but it's coming up like pretty short. There's not much she could do. Like, her parents are probably, you know, they were kind of zombified last time, so they're probably just like, whatever. But yeah, I think it's not something that she's moved on from, and she dwells on like each day.
Ellen, Serena was your rival.
She's super confused because she wanted to be Serena, but then Serena was in the way, and you know, but she was at least somebody who talked to her and kind of brought her in. But then, oh, Serena's gone, so there's a gap. Maybe I get to no, somebody else filled that gap for being cool and popular, and I just didn't. But still, no closure whatsoever on
Well,
that
and
at
then
all.
also just as she slid out of your life, slid out of the way vis-a-vis Thomas removed himself from the equation, right? Like, just as you know, so it's like you can't have anything.
I can't finish anything.
Yeah. What about you, Jonah? You and Serena have some bad blood, right?
Yeah. I'm glad she's gone. Good riddance.
Good riddance.
Tony is just like really tight with me now. So
yeah, that's true. Like, she had that kind of control over Tony, and now that's just gone.
Yeah. And now he's all about the art on the graffiti art. And
oh
yeah, that's his
you're
artistic
rechanneling
expression.
his artistic expression. That's good. I'm here for it. It's good. Let's figure out where we're at then in time and space as far as the scenes go. Oh, that's a good question, Kevin, in the chat. Does your gang have a specific tag?
Me or Phillips?
Phillips graffiti tag. Not mechanical tag. not Apocalypse World tag, like spray paint on the wall.
Oh, it's totally like the stag skull with the antlers.
Okay, nice.
They're like spraying that everywhere. And Tony does like some more artistic motifs and figures and whatnot as well. and like addition to it. But that's always like a very prominent sign within all of the graffiti.
Does that mean you'd get in trouble if they found your mask?
Probably. I like that.
Right.
That's good.
I think we're going to kick off with, we'll just kick off with homeroom. Mrs. Forsyth, the vice principal, is still conducting homeroom for Mr. Thompson. I think they've just decided for the rest of the semester they're not going to try to sort that out. It's just going to be the vice principal until then. We haven't seen Mrs. Forsyth much yet, but she does seem to always kind of be there whenever there's like an issue, that needs to be like disseminated to this, or something needs to be told to the students. It's always her more than the main principal, right? And that's not unusual. She's the vice principal's kind of the like the second in command on a ship or something. They're the ones who actually do the stuff, right? While the principal gets all the credit, right? He is no doubt a man. And Sister Mary Edward Price, she also was the one who was like, hey, like here's Sister Mary Edward Price and all that stuff. And they're real tight. That's something you'll note. Everybody will be very aware of that in the school. Like Sister Mary Edward Price and Vice Principal Forsyth are basically synonymous in terms of like, their aims and goals, and they're always chit-chatting and they're clearly friends. But I think we're going to start with homeroom, and what everyone's buzzing about in homeroom is, who are you taking to Yule Ball? Yule Ball is the Christmas dance. It's probably like in a couple of days, or we'll even say tomorrow. It's like tomorrow night. So it's like Thursday right now. Who are you taking to Yule Ball? Like, has anyone asked you? All that kind of stuff, right? And so you guys can just enter the scene as you wish, but I'm going to start off with people kind of milling around before homeroom starts. And Sarah, who has seemed to have completely forgotten about the attack that she suffered. She never realized it was an attack, but she's forgotten about that whole incident, right? Like where she had her collapse in class, right? Sarah comes up to you, Lilith, and she says, hey, so has anyone asked you out to Yule Ball yet?
No, but I've been not really present at school anyway, so I didn't expect anyone to ask me. And I think like visually how the audience or whatever would know that Lilith is sort of a different person, like personality wise, is like before she was always wearing sweaters and sort of sweeping wispy clothes and stuff, and now she's more like dressing like an actual teenager. Like she probably has like a skirt and like still sweaters, but not something super like frumpy and more stylish. Like she cares about her appearance more, but also has enough confidence that when people are talking to her, especially guys that she's not interested in, then it's not a huge deal and she's not falling all over herself. So maybe even people have asked her, but she just hasn't really noticed because she's still dwelling in, the sadness that is Serena missing. Like as the school keeps piping Christmas music, in her own inner soundtrack, it's like A Long December or something from Counting Crows, right? But Lilith is like, how about you? I'm sure everyone's asked you, and kind of rolls her eyes.
She's like, yeah, some people have asked, but I don't know. I kind of just, I don't know. I kind of just want to go like, with just friends, I'm, maybe just like go with a couple of girlfriends, and yeah, I don't know. Like none of the guys at the school are just kind of, I mean.
Lilith looks at Chad and she's like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think she does her trademark little punch on the shoulder and she's like, we should show them and just go together.
She's like, yeah, we should. Yeah, we could do that. Are you suggesting like as a platonic thing, a friendly thing? Or are you trying to like turn her on or get her to like?
I think it's a turn on thing. And like, I think in her mind anyway, this is like super edgy and might even like mess with Forsyth, right? Like, ooh, two girls showing up. And
Right, yeah.
yeah, when probably nobody really would care. But
but you, and I like the way you approached it was you did your awkward like arm punch thing,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
That
Any
Lilith does.
contact is good contact.
And so I think she's well. Let's go a little harder on like the turn her on. Like, what might you do to trigger that?
Maybe another thing how we see she's different is she does her trademark move, but then her hand actually stays on the shoulder when she asks and makes like direct eye
Lingers.
contact instead of
Yeah.
it being like a super awkward averting gaze and stuff. There's more confidence in Lilith now.
All right, roll hot.
Okay. I have to remember if I'm even good at it. Oh yeah, I'm not bad. Okay, so I'm gonna be orange dice. 5, 6. Nope. Back to being Lilith.
1 second. Hold that thought. I'll come back to it.
Okay.
Who else wants to enter the scene? You can just frame it up, doing whatever you want to do.
I'll come drifting in and hear the talk about going to the Yule Ball, and I'll just kind of, as I'm drifting by Lilith and Sarah, I'll be like, why do you guys even care about the damn thing? It's not like it's just an excuse to get together and hook up with someone and maybe, you know, have some dope or drink. It's not like these are lifetime relationships. And I'm just going to kind of stomp past them and sit down at my desk. And then I'll probably lean over towards Roddy just to see if I can make something. Then
Were you trying to shut down there, or
no,
was that
I'm just showing like
just being
I
surly?
think that whole
Yeah.
thing is fake, you know.
Yeah.
If you're asking at the last minute, you didn't really like him, or otherwise you're completely gutless, and I have no respect for you if you're completely gutless. So
Yeah, that's good. I love it. I have a thought on my move now. Like, swing back to it, and then I'll give Ellen. I think you're there. I want to say you're there in the scene, even, but you haven't maybe done anything yet.
Yeah, people haven't noticed me though.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Lilith, some young guy, not a student, like an older guy, but still young, comes in, and he's got like this bouquet of flowers. It's a bouquet of like very like dark purple flowers, even like black flowers, like some black roses. This really gothy looking like bouquet, and he says, "Is there someone named Lilith here?" And everybody in the class is like, "Ooh."
Yeah. Valentine's Day all over again.
Ooh, right.
Yeah, and Lilith. I think Lilith almost shrinks back into her old self and does the like present.
And he sets it down, and there's a card.
Oh, she tentatively, and she definitely reads it so that like Sarah's probably like darting around trying to see it too, and
Right,
she's just like blocking it and trying
What
to
about
read
you,
it.
Ellen? Are you trying to dart around and see what the card says?
More that I'm standing there just because so that I'll be in the shot with the three of them. Not saying
Ellen.
anything, just
Right.
cool by association because now these flowers and people are looking at it.
Good. You open up the envelope, and it has this very rich, herbaceous smell, like tomato leaf and nightshade, with a hint of bitterness. It's a smell that you're not particularly familiar with, Lilith, but you recognize it immediately, Ellen. And the card, says, sort of a little introductory, like, I hope these flowers are finding you well, da 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 da. Would you mind being my date for the Yule Ball? And it's signed Thomas.
And I don't think did Lilith even meet Thomas? Just the once,
I don't think
right?
you've even met. Yeah, I don't. I mean, you know him from you. I mean, you would have like known him being in school, and then you knew that he eventually withdrew from school, or he's being homeschooled now, or something. But you don't otherwise have much connection to him. No.
Hmm.
Because
Are the
every time
flowers
Thomas
in-
appeared on screen in the Fey realm, it's when you were not, right? Like it's like he peeled everybody off of you, right? Like in
Yeah,
those scenes.
like Lilith kind of saw him, but not really, because of that scene where she was enjoying the company of her jury, and then Thomas wasn't really visible and took Philip away. So
Yeah, Jonah, I mean, yeah.
or Jonah.
Are the flowers in a vase? Or
Yeah. Black
Okay.
vase, black glass.
yes, well, that's what I want to knock off the decks by accident.
Nice.
Is that a shutdown? It might be a shutdown. In a
Oh
way.
yeah,
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, real cold.
Okay, let's see here. So, Ellen, reroll selected. So that's an 8.
All right, choose one from the list, but you come across poorly, and they give you a condition in return.
Choose one from below. I think that's kind of embarrassing, so I think I will put a condition on her, or upsetting, that these flowers have just come and some idiot has knocked them off the thing.
Right. Awesome. So you're going to gain a condition. Is that what you're doing?
I think she'll gain a condition.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, so she gains a condition no matter what, according to the move. On a 7 to 9, you have to choose one from the list. But you come across poorly, and they give you a condition in return.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you get a condition no matter what, and then you have to choose one of these 4 options.
Right, which I was saying,
Is a
Lilith
condition.
would get
Give her a condition.
that she would be upset.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry. Awesome. Well, so what are these conditions that we're getting here? Lilith, Ellen, do you want to call that angry or upset, or?
I think actually more like obvious. Like it was obvious that I did that. Something like that on me. That I realized that I tried to be subtle, and it wasn't subtle at all.
Yeah. Transparent.
Okay, great. I put transparent.
That sounds ghostly, right?
Yeah. And then what's my condition?
Oh, are you going to be more upset, angry, or more embarrassed that now everybody is staring at you with this card and these flowers?
Honestly, I think that she wouldn't have like, she doesn't really know Thomas or anything, so I think the embarrassment would be more from the judgment of the people in the class, probably. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Everyone turns while this shatters and is looking at her.
Yeah, and they probably think it was me too, right? So
yeah.
The delivery boy is still there, and he says, I can't replace that vase for free, just so you know, FYI. However, I am supposed to bring your answer back. So are you going to go to the Yule Ball with this guy or not?
I know. I think she's like, sorry, I think I already have a date. It kind of like deflects it right to Sarah.
I think we're doing a shutdown on Thomas remotely, a remote shutdown.
Okay.
So roll that. Shutdown. Get that roll on the table. I'm going to cut over to Jonah. Jonah, where are you at in this scene?
Well, of course, I'm walking in with my buds. I've got Tony and Rody right in tow, and yeah, just gonna kind of like.
Tony's like, "Are you going to Yule Ball, man?"
and Jonah's like, "Yule Ball's so stupid. Fuck Yule Ball." And
he's like, "Yeah, Yule Ball's stupid, but I don't know, like." And he looks at Rhodey, and they kind of look at each other, and like, that's when the chicks are most, are most available, if you know what I mean. They see the lights, they hear the slow music.
And Jonah's like, look, if you just want to get your dick wet, I'm not going to get in your way. But, you know, I kind of want to like fuck up Yule Ball.
I'm into that. They're like, what do you have in mind?
Oh, I don't know, but I think that it's going to involve a lot of cleanup.
Interesting. I think Ben comes up to you, right? And he's like looking at you, and he's like,
And I'm like, oh, Ben, you got something on your shirt. And I point to his shirt, and then when he looks down, I go, boop. His nose.
That's not even a shutdown on Ben. That's almost to turn someone on, honestly. And he's like, oh, he's like, you're so funny, Jonah. He's like, hey, so I was wondering, I don't have a date for Yule Ball, and this is not some gay thing. This is not some gay thing, but like, I was wondering if, like, you know, maybe we could all like, I don't know, like, we could all just go as like a crew, right?
Oh, crew. You want to go with me and the boys? Is that what you're saying?
He's like, well, you know, I just, you know, I was talking to your mom, and she thought it would be really, I don't know, she thought it'd be really great if we all kind of went together. She said I could keep you out of trouble, and he kind of gives you an awkward arm punch.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Here, why don't I take this paper and here, I'll write down where we're meeting to get ready for the Yule Ball. And then so he just takes a piece of paper and he just writes fuck off on it and folds it and gives it to Ben.
That's a shutdown. Go ahead.
Oh, goodness. So shutdown is with
Cold.
Okay, I got an 8.
Okay, so you have to choose one from the list, and then you'll also I'll put a condition on you as well.
So, I think that I don't think Ben has a string on me.
I can check real fast.
I'm not sure.
He does not. No.
Okay.
You can gain one on him.
Oh, they can gain a condition?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
He's already got the condition try hard.
Oh, that's kind of the same thing. So.
But we could just say you re-upped it then, because I was probably going to erase it anyway. So.
Oh, why don't we give him the condition loser?
I'm going to give you the condition a work in progress.
Okay.
You can be fixed. I'm going to cut back to Lilith real briefly before we get back to Marco and just find out what the die result was.
It was a 9. So I think it would make sense if I got a string on him.
String on Thomas? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I'm into that. And I'm going to give you a condition. So when you rejected him, what did you say? You were just like, what message did you send to the delivery boy?
Maybe I don't go out with strangers, and then also used it as an opportunity to like get an answer from Sarah. And then after he leaves, I'll probably hand out all of those roses to like all the girls in the class too.
Here's all these black roses.
Yeah.
Awesome. You don't go out with strangers. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm going to give you the condition. Your condition is going to be marked. M-A-R-K-E-D.
Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, Thomas, you're so fickle.
So, Marco, I think Austin comes up to you, our drug dealer friend, and he's like, "Hey, Margot.
Hey, Austin.
So I was wondering if you would be interested in going to Yule Ball with me."
What, you're asking one day before Yule Ball? Did you just grow a pair?
No, I'm an entrepreneur, man. I got to take
Oh,
care of my
working hard.
business.
Working hard. Side gigs. I got it.
Yeah, I got to take care of my business. I just haven't had time, you know? I mean, and well, I've got something that we can light on
Party
fire.
favors?
Something we can light on fire that's a little more interesting than a vlog, let's just say.
Oh, fuck it. I'll go with you. Sure.
Awesome. All right. So Margot's got a date for Yule Ball. Done. Lilith, you're gonna go with as friends with Sarah, right?
Yeah. So the thing that happened was basically she misconstrued it and we're friends instead of like
Right. You think it's
dating.
you think it's like a maybe a quasi romantic thing, and she just thinks it's like, oh, girls only, like, kind of party or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Like she might even show up with a whole bunch of other girls, right?
Right. Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Right. Perfect. Ellen, what about Yule Ball?
So I imagine it's been a pattern the last few weeks. Like this is kind of a weird setup, but like maybe there's a girl in another one of the classes who's kind of this earthy, crunchy, popular, so casual, and she has a good-looking boyfriend, and Ellen's kind of been focused on him. But like the earthy, crunchy girl's friends have spotted that and have humiliated me, and this is sort of a cycle of her setting her sights on guys that are attached to other people and getting pushed back. And so she's probably at the tail end of one of those cycles of humiliation. And
Hmm.
right now she's just staring at that puddle where the water was in the vase. The glass has been cleaned up, but oh yeah. And it's probably even worse when Lilith comes up and puts one of those fucking roses on my desk. And she doesn't mean it.
Was that shade, Lilith, or was that like
Uh, no, I think she was just trying to be nice and like make all the girls feel good, you
with
know.
black roses?
Yeah,
Well,
I don't read it that way.
because everyone like looked, and I think she misconstrued everyone's looks as like, oh, I wish I got roses from a guy too. So then she was like, well,
Right.
everybody
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
roses now, right?
I
Awesome.
probably draw in my little notebook, little pictures of me strangling Lilith with her hair, that kind of thing. And I'm sitting there.
Nice. I love it. And that's great. Okay. This is maybe a little early for a break, but let's take a quick bio break. And when we come back, I'm just going to let you guys frame up your next scenes, like wherever you guys want to be. So just think about how you want to do this. Be in the middle of the school day. Okay. So I'm looking at Kevin's screenshot, and for a minute I thought he was just like holding this like face like on camera. Like, what are you doing to me?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people go, okay, you're freaking me out with that.
Jonah, go ahead and frame up your scene. Where you at?
Jonah is it's lunchtime, right? So he's actually gone. I think that I like to think that on the school there's like this old schoolhouse that's like historic, like a Mercy Falls landmark or whatever.
Yeah.
And
there would be, right? 'Cause it's an old camp town, so yeah.
Right. Well, he doesn't give a fuck about that, and he's going behind it, and they're going to graffiti the back of it.
Oh no, it's a world historic preservation thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing, graffitiing the back of the.
Totally, and I think probably going to talk to them about this Yule Ball shit.
With Rhodey and Tony.
Yeah.
You're okay. Cool. So, like, yeah. I mean, like, do we want to like have that like specific conversation, or like, how do you want that to go?
Yeah, we can. So I think that I walk up with there's like this black duffel that I keep my mask in, and I've also now got like a couple cans of spray paint in there. Yeah. And we totally broke into the market store and stole these.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've got one out, and I am I'm like shaking it, and I'm like, this Yule Ball is going to be awful. All the parents are going to be bustling around trying to, keep everyone in order. I think that we should like just fuck it all up.
And Tony says, Tony's like doing his little artistic spray paint business, right? And he's like, yeah, I mean, like, maybe we can like, bring something to, put something a little extra in the punch. Is that what you mean? Like, I wouldn't mind getting fucked up.
And I'm like, well, yeah, obviously we're going to do that. But I was also thinking that, we could also maybe dump like some mud on the stage or something. Like right when they're doing the big
crowning the Yule Queen. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, like a carry thing, right? Like, too bad we can't get a hold of some pig's blood. That'd be pretty awesome. That's what Rhodey says.
I'm like, Rhodey, we're not just going to be copycats, okay? We have to do something different.
I think this
so
is
we can go in the forest, and we can get a bucket, and we can get some mud, and we can throw like some little leaves and twigs and shit in there and just mix it all up, and then just dump it down on them. And
that's all going on, and you guys are like, you're like, yeah. And I think Tony's like a little more reticent. He's like, I don't know, like he's like, the committee's been working really hard on the decorations and stuff. Like, it just seems, I don't know, it's just not really cool.
Oh, it's not really cool? I mean, I thought that you would be totally against this, corporate sanitization Christmas that is just complete bullshit. And, they're just trying to throw this fake celebration that, no one really cares about that shit.
And that's all going on. You guys are having this conversation. And this is probably like a couple of hours after homeroom, right? And you actually see that delivery boy from before with the flowers. You see him like approaching, and you're doing something illegal you're not supposed to be doing. When you see him approach, what do you do?
The delivery boy is approaching us.
Yeah, like he knew where to find you, and he's like approaching you.
Okay. I think that going to scramble to put away the spray cans and put out our blunts or whatever.
give me a keep your cool. Give me a keep your cool. What are you afraid will happen right now?
That, you know, this person will see us and, you know, report us to
the cops or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I got a 6.
Awesome. Also, Lilith, I didn't mention it, but I want to make sure you marked an XP for your miss earlier. So,
Yeah, I did.
okay, go ahead and mark an XP for yours as well. He comes up to you and he looks absolutely like shaken, like he's really nervous and his cheek is trembling and he's like broken out with a sweat, right? Like just a sweat like pouring down his face, like almost like just like in rivulets, right? He's red. And he says, Thomas is very, very upset with me right now. Very, very upset. He told me to come to you and tell you that he wants you to kill me. And we'll cut right there. Ellen, frame up your scene.
So I imagine the weird backdrop, the sort of the silent start to the scene is the lunchroom, where we probably actually see that though they don't interact otherwise. I imagine that Ellen and Ben like eat lunch together because they're sort of two birds, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so we probably eat lunch together, and there's maybe some conversation there, but we don't really talk to each other otherwise. But at some point, I imagine that Ellen, because she can, sneaks out into the empty halls, and she is looking for Lilith's locker.
I like that. You can find it, no problem.
And because I can walk through things and open any door,
it just happens to be open, right?
Yes, I want to see what's in her locker. What's her deal?
We'll treat this like a little read a person. Like you can just ask Ellen or ask Fraser a couple questions about.
Yeah, Lilith, what when she opens your locker, what's in there?
You see like her obsession with Serena, right? It's probably like a crime board tracking Serena's whereabouts and like a whole bunch of pictures of Serena and like the police report somehow is in there too. And then like sort of stuffed in the corner is the textbook. So like it's very predominant that her time and space is being devoted to figuring out what's going on with Serena. Nice.
Garbage
Subtle.
For purposes of the audio, Ellen just
tore down everything.
Tore down everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she's doing.
You can ask one or two more questions if you want. I'm cool with that.
Is there anything that tells me something about your home life in there?
Maybe my dad has packed lunches for me now, but it's not like wherever I am now, for some reason I'm not eating lunch, even though it's lunchtime, and there's just like the brown paper bag to reinforce this weird ass like body snatcher dad thing going on.
One more question. What is there that actually hints at your Fey nature?
Hmm. It could be scissors with my like some of my hair on it, because one of the things I think we established was that my hair grows really, really fast and I have to cut it like very often, and that's probably even worse now.
Okay. Neat.
I would like to. I'm looking at conditions right now,
Mhm.
and I think your transparent condition. I'm going to lean on that a little bit. I think it means that like maybe people are seeing you a little more clearly than you are accustomed to right now. I'm going to lean on that and suggest that there are just a couple of people like wandering that have just wandered into the scene, right? And maybe you need to like keep your cool to make it look like you're not rifling through all this stuff right now.
Okay. So let me roll.
And I would ask like, what would you be afraid of if like someone told Lilith you were going through her locker?
Well, the only person who I can imagine that she would if Sarah were to see it, that would embarrass Ellen, because she's the other cool girl, besides Margot. So I think that would be the person I'd be most worried about that seeing.
I like it. Let's go ahead and roll cold.
Okay, reroll selected. Did it go? Okay, so it was a 6 plus 2 is an 8.
Yeah, cool. On a 7 to 9, the MC will tell you how your actions would leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through with it. So I think what's going on here is you would be able to, I will give you the option of like, if you wanted like evidence of like the scissors, like if you wanted to keep those as evidence like of her fey nature, I think that that's something you could do. But I think in the doing, Sarah specifically might see that taking place.
Oh no,
right?
Ellen's a coward. She won't take anything.
She's not gonna go back down.
As soon as she gets worried that her status might be in danger, she'll shut the locker and walk away.
All right, awesome. I can mechanize that too. Like if you take the scissors, I'll give you a string on.
No, I'll leave that.
Okay.
She wouldn't risk it.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds good. Doing some Dungeon World tricks there, like what's that Dungeon World move? Show them something awesome, and then like see if they do it or whatever. Good. That was a good scene. Margot, what about you?
I think Margot and Austin are heading out to their normal spot to smoke a bowl underneath the football stands.
Nice.
And as we're walking out there, we can see Jonah and his guys painting it at a distance. And then maybe we see that messenger come up and we're just watching
what's going to happen,
what's going on, because recognize him from in the class. And I was just
like what's he doing with Jonah and his boys?
Yeah, I nudge Austin. I'm like, hey, isn't that the flower boy?
Yeah, I like that. Then I might hold that thought and go to Lilith real quick.
I had a scene in mind that is probably it can fit in whenever, like it's a nebulous time thing, because I want it to be like an awkward bathroom thing that implies that this has happened over and over and over throughout the last couple months, where Lilith and Margot are in the washroom, but we don't like really speak to each other. Like the Forsyth has done her job well. Like she's segregated us and we're already sort of pointed at odds with each other. And just like any other day, it's just like silent. We take care of our business. But when Margot is about to walk out, Lilith is like, says, like, just blurts out and says, we're all that we have, Margot. We used to be close.
I like that. Let's say that let's see how this situation goes down with Jonah and the thing with the delivery boy, because that might
Yeah.
be actually something you and Margaret could talk about, depending on if it goes south, right? So.
Sure. And then I was thinking too, Ellen might even be eavesdropping on it too.
Okay, awesome. A meeting in the ladies' room, right? This delivery boy he looks absolutely terrified, and he says, Thomas said you have to kill me, so just get it over with. Just do it. Get it over with. I'm spending one of Thomas's strings. You'll get an XP if you kill this delivery boy.
If I kill him, well, I think instead what I'll do is, is there any way I can use bot loyalty with this delivery boy?
What is bot loyalty?
Give him a string on me to tempt them to do my bidding.
MC will
when
tell
you
you
can-
what sort of bribe, threat,
Yeah.
or coaxing it'll take to get that character to do what you want right now. I think it'll work. I mean, I think it could be a pretty awkward scene because Thomas clearly has some power over him. But I think that's okay. Let's just push forward and see what it looks like when you how's the scene progress.
Okay, well, what I want him to do is I want him to deliver a message back to Thomas for me.
Okay. Well, so let's keep it going then. So he says, so just do it. I'm here. So just do it.
And so Jonah puts on the stag skull mask, and I think he rips his shirt off, right? Like his tank top or whatever. And I think he walks up
Austin
to
is like, what the fuck?
walks up to this delivery boy and bites his thumb so it starts bleeding, and then he draws a spiral on the delivery boy's forehead, and he's like, I want you to relay a message to Thomas for me. And he pulls a pocket knife out of his pocket, because of course that would have been easier than biting his thumb. But anyway, he pulls out this pocket knife and he's like, I want you to go carve in that old house's walls this message. Thomas, you're a fucking forest freak. Leave me the fuck alone.
And so, per your move, I have to say what sort of bribe, threat, or coaxing it'll take to get them to do that thing. He looks really terrified, and he actually falls down on his hands and knees, and he says, please, I'm begging you, kill me right now. I can't go back and face him. I can't, I've already failed him once. I can't go back. If you don't kill me, it's going to be so much worse, so much worse for me. He says, I'll do it. I'll do whatever you say, but you have to promise me. You have to promise me that you'll find me and you'll finish me. Because I don't even want to know what he'll do. And he's freaking out.
And and Jonah's I think Jonah steps back a bit and he just looks at this person. And I think he's just going to backhand him.
Okay. Well, he's on his hands and knees. Yeah. So you gonna kick him or something, or what?
Yeah, sure. Like he'll just like he just like he like kind of looks away and he's like rubbing his face or whatever, and then he like just turns around and just kicks this guy over. And I think what he does is he like gets down and gets in his face and he's like, "Listen to me, motherfucker. You better be scared of me now, not Thomas. You got it?"
And
I think he like puts his hand on his throat and he's like, "You're gonna do what I tell you to, not what Thomas is going telling you to do. And you're not gonna be scared of Thomas, because I tell you what, you may think he's so scared, but guess what? He's nothing compared to me." And I think then he'll like pick him up and like push him away, and he's like, "You're gonna do what I told you to." And he like takes the knife and like throws it at him. "And I'll see you when you're done."
I think it's unclear whether he's going to do that or not, but I think you've made your point. So, Margot, you witnessed all of that at a distance. I don't think you heard what was going on, but I think you saw him falling to his hands and knees, Jonah kicking the shit out of him, all that stuff. Jonah tearing his shirt off and putting the mask on. It was a weird moment. And you know that Jonah gets up to some ritualistic shit anyway, so this all just maybe just seems par for the course.
Yep. Margot will actually come over and maybe just as Jonah has kicked the delivery guy, it's like, so what's this? Some sort of initiation ritual? What are you boys up to?
And I think the delivery guy like scuttles off like after Jonah's made his threat or whatever.
And Jonah will just take off the mask and he's like, "It's none of your fucking business."
I like you better with that mask, Jonah. Don't have to look at your face.
Ooh, that's a shutdown.
Let's see, cold -1. It's 9. No, it'll be 8. Doesn't look like it took the 1 off.
An 8 is choose one from the list, but you do get a condition from Jonah.
Should I give that condition now, or wait till see you? Let's see what you want to pick.
I want to have Jonah lose that string he has on me.
All right.
I don't like that leverage being out there.
Done and done. What's the condition?
So Jonah looks back at her and he's like, "Oh, please, come on. I know that you are the real ugly one on the inside. You walk around like you're some normal person here, but guess what? You're a freak. A two-faced freak, a monster. So why don't you just get out of here and leave all us normal people alone, all right?" And he says that with complete disregard for what he just said.
No irony whatsoever.
At least I'm not afraid to admit what I am. I don't hide behind a mask. Go ahead and have your fun, boys. And
Jonah's just like, "No, you say that, but you know what? You're wearing your mask right now, and I'm not fooled. So fuck off."
So what's the condition called?
I think the condition is
have a mask or something like that.
Two-faced or something like that, maybe.
That's good. Why don't we sit forward then a little bit with that like joint scene between the three women characters. Lilith kind of like having an awkward convo with Margot. This is probably a little bit after that incident, and Ellen creeping about, if you wish, Ellen.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Ellen was about to go into the room, but then overheard our voices and was like, "Oh."
But
right.
no, Ellen, I will push your transparent condition again. You may have to take some affirmative action to drop that condition because it could be a problem for your MO.
So yeah, like I think this has happened before where we're in the same bathroom, but we don't talk to each other. And Lilith is like, "I don't know what happened that day. but Serena never came back after that. And everyone who remembers or seems to remember what happened isn't talking about it. And we're all we have. Everybody in town acts like nothing ever happened. Is that how you want to act, or do you want to tell me what happened with Serena? And there's like a desperation in her voice in the last few words, and I'm gonna spend a string on you to tempt you to tell me what happened, because I don't even know her nature from what I recall. Right? I don't think I know that she's
Oh,
a
that
vampire.
Serena was a
Even.
vampire?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that was. I don't think you. Well, no, because she bit you, didn't she? Or did when you, I guess, went through the veil? I guess.
Yeah.
Serena bit me.
Yeah, I thought she I thought she fed on you, and then when she was done, you guys were in fairyland. That's how I
Maybe.
recall it.
I thought so. I thought Yoshi said something about the effects of fey blood.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
fairly certain that's how that happened. So you have a sense, right?
Okay, yeah. I just want to then I'll point it directly at like what happened that day and why is Serena not here? Because I think that I make the assumption that whatever happened that day should you know what happened for one, and two, maybe you know where Serena is now or what happened to her or what.
Look, I don't know what happened to Serena. I will tell you that I think that Sister Mary Edward Price, I think she's the reason Serena and her family are gone. I saw her sharpening a stake, and I kind of give you the raised eyebrows thing. And she said to me in this vision that she was going to take care of Serena and that I was next. I think maybe she did take care of Serena. I warned her. Maybe Serena and her family left. I don't know which. I can't get hold of her. She's disappeared off of Facebook and Twitter. I no idea what happened to her, but I think it's that Sister Mary Edward Price either scared her off or did something to her. And then I pass the joint over to you.
I think that Lilith hasn't much smoked it anyway, so she does the coughing fit thing with it, right? And she's like, it sounds to me, with her eyes getting like a little teary from coughing so much, is that we should make sure that friends like us stick together. Just when we were coming together, all this stuff went down, and now we're more apart than we've ever been.
Well, I don't know about hand-holding kumbaya stuff, but if you're talking about you'll watch my back, I watch your back, I'm cool with that. Because I don't need that creeper nun coming up on me. I don't trust her. I mean, the whole town is fucking weird. Have you heard anyone say anything about Kyle? Serena?
No, it's like those kids never even went missing or died or
Mr.
anything.
Thompson. I don't think they talk about that anymore either.
Yeah, like all the and my dad's acting super weird, and I have that like or no, I guess I don't have the lunch, but I'm just like my dad's acting super weird. He's like parent of the year all of a sudden, and Serena's missing, and things are just all messed up. So I think that we need to stick together.
And
just to be perfectly clear, in the scene, just so anybody watching this is aware, are we saying that, like, because of your ghostly abilities, Ellen, you're hearing all of this? Like, you're muted?
I imagine actually it's as with the transparent thing, it's that she's actually at the bathroom door listening.
Right. So other people are seeing you listen, maybe.
Yeah. And it's that she hasn't quite realized, because this is weird, and she falls into these fugue states, so she's there while people are staring at her with her face literally pressed against that bathroom door.
Right. Nice. So cool.
Awesome. Well, then I'll toss to Ellen. I mean, is there anything you want to do in that scene, like after they have that conversation?
No, I imagine there is that bit when one of them comes out, maybe a little more forcefully, than Ellen expected, where she probably gets the smack in the face from the door, but they don't notice as they leave. Even though she's kind of clutching her face, and they've
Can we
moved
say
on
that's a harm?
past.
Let's make that a harm, and another great reason to take a proactive action against that condition.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was probably Margot who came out, because she doesn't
Oh,
just kind of push a door open gently. She just like stomps through everything.
Yeah, there's enough room that it probably hit the nose straight on.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I like Lilith hurries to her locker and she's like, "What the fuck happened to my locker?" And then it's over.
That's good. I love it. All right. Well, I think this might be a good opportunity to poll the table really quickly and see where we want things to go. I'm cool with fast forwarding past the school day if you want to do that. Just to kind of recap kind of what's happening. We're saying tomorrow night is the Yule Ball for anybody who's interested in the Yule Ball. A couple of you have plans. It sounds like Rhodey and Tony and Jonah are going to do some miscreant shit. Maybe, unless Thomas is throwing you off your game. I don't know. But I want to just not have scenes yet, but I want to just figure out what you're all thinking in terms of where you want to go next, and then we'll figure out where the scenes are. So, Jonah, what do you think?
Yeah. Ideas I have are, the first one I think is kind of doing some sort of forest gaze into the abyss type thing, maybe.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
And because we need to get some mud, right? We need to start gathering the mud.
If you're going through with this plan, yes, I suppose you do.
Also, get up to some weird forest orgy shit while we're there. So I'm thinking we might go to the pond, but I also would like to kind of follow up with this delivery boy somehow. Like maybe we follow him or something and just like kind of spy or something.
Okay, those are great ideas. We'll think about. Lilith, what do you think, or about kind of next steps, or what you would like to see happen?
I think after school I want to catch Margot and try to convince her to sneak into the sister's house to get some evidence on this chick.
On the sister or on Serena?
Yeah.
Or just evidence as a general matter. Okay.
Yeah, like maybe we've heard she's doing counseling again or whatever, so we can just try to bust into her house. And then it might even be a good opportunity for Ellen because she likes to go in houses too. So it'd be kind of like a Scooby-Doo moment. Like, what are you doing here? What are you doing? It would be funny.
Yeah, it's good. I love it. What about you, Margo? Same, just with Lilith, or what?
Yeah, I'm totally cool with Lilith, and then I'm ready to, unless we have stuff for tomorrow's school day, I want to see what the hell this dance is like. I think it's gonna be 100% pure chaos.
What about you, Ellen?
I imagine that eventually it will become clear that neither Ellen nor Ben have somebody to go to the dance with, and there's that sort of lowered expectations moment. But also, I think after school, while the Sister Mary thing is interesting, I think she has to go to Thomas's house.
I think so too.
I think she's driven by that.
Yeah, that sounds great. I need a bio break. I've had a lot of coffee this morning, so I'm going to take a bio break. But that'll give me time to also think about how we want to set these scenes up. And just a reminder, this series is scheduled for 4 hours instead of the normal 3. So we're going till 2 o'clock EDT. If that's cool with everybody, I'm okay if people need to go earlier than that. But
we're 2:30 since we missed a half hour.
We'll stick with 2, and then so we've got plenty of time to make some of the stuff happen. So we'll take a quick break.
Jason, I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's pretty good so far.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be back doing this too. This is like one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's like slipping into a comfortable pair of jeans or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Yeah, I'm super happy with my decision to like do a sort of narrative reset too. I think that like
Yeah.
was it feels right, you know, to like kind of put you guys back at a sort of like more in a more like normal state.
Yeah. And
But with mystery, right? Why is it like that? Right. So
yeah, I really like the like body snatcher feel. As soon as you started describing this, I was like, oh shit. Because that movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Like I
oh
was looking
man.
at my parents
Yeah.
suspiciously after that movie.
The Donald Sutherland one, the one from the 70s is so good because there's a couple different versions, right? Oh man, that
Yeah.
one is so good.
I'm not sure which one I saw. But I remember being like, oh shit. Because it's
The
always like
Sutherland
that.
one has the dog with
Yes.
the face that when I was a kid, there was a photo novel of that at the library. I remember looking at that, and it stayed with me for years.
I don't know if I saw that one then.
Oh.
I think I saw like probably a 90s one on TV or something.
Yeah, we played 44 yesterday morning, and that's basically like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the role playing game, right? Like
Oh, okay.
it's pretty cool. Awesome, we're back. This is A plus for me so far. I'm really digging this session. This is a great way to get back into Mercy Falls. Let's see where we go. I want to start with Margot and Lily. I know we just got off them, but I want to start with them. I think that feels like the stakes feel like just slightly lower, I think, but still important. Sister Mary Edward Price has been staying at the Egyptian Palace Hotel and Bar. The Egyptian Palace is something of a historical landmark itself. It is it's a bar, and there's a hotel attached to it, right? And it's called the Egyptian Palace because the interior decor of the bar area is this really tacky, like Egyptian tchotchke, you know, like kitsch, right? Like kind of interior. This is for the whole table. I'd like to know as the camera pans around the bar area. Or are you guys going into the bar or are you doing something else?
We could be. On the way there, I wanted to have, or during it, I wanted to have a conversation with Margot because we never really talked about like her wolfing out and trying to kill me either yet.
Let's say it's in the bar. Maybe you guys are like trying to figure out what your next steps.
Sure. Like maybe we're eating first even, and then we're going to go, like, got to get a full stomach, then you raid a bitch house, right? There we go.
So the camera's swoops, you know, kind of moving around the dining room and bar area of the Egyptian palace, right?
Right.
I want to know what you see, each of us, what we see on camera throughout the room. That two things. I want to know. I want to know like why what you see that lets you know why it's called the Egyptian palace. Like it's sort of the kitsch, and then I also want to know what you see that is a reminder that this is still just a joint in a rural logging town in the Pacific Northwest, right? So whoever wants to go first, think about it.
I'll go first. So I think that there's like a gift shop in there that has like all these like cheesy Egyptian palace little keychains and things like that. And then there's like a very small little museum section where they've actually got like some really crappy Egyptian artifacts in there. And then they've got like old Mercy Falls stuff as well.
Okay, so it's like it's a history of Egypt for some reason, and also Mercy Falls.
Yeah, and it's like very obviously trying to be like a tourist trap sort of thing. Yeah.
I imagine there's also a machine from like the 60s or 70s. It's kind of got this bubble. It's big old metal, and it makes these little plastic injection uh, um, pyramids while you wait. The mold closes and it sprays, and it's super hot, and you get that smell of plastic coming off
Acrid
of it.
plastic smell.
You know, then it opens, it scrapes it down, and it's an old mold. It's been doing this for years, so it barely has any texture on it, but it's super hot and burns your hands when you pull it out of the drawer there.
Oh.
That sounds like the answer to both questions. So,
I think the waiter and waitresses have to have like some novelty costume, and like the waiter's like, welcome to, you know, the Aztec temple where everyone is a pharaoh. What would you like to order today? That kind of thing. And he's got
why
like
the
the
Aztec
headdress,
temple?
whatever, you know, whatever he says, like whatever the bar is called, and then he has like a pharaoh waiter outfit on, and he's just sort of like dead eyes. I've had enough of my life.
Nice. Good. All right. Yeah, it's just like he's got the little thing on, and he's like, I love it. But it's just like this, you know, just this like white kid or whatever, goofy.
Yeah, it's the
kid,
total
right?
King Tut thing, like
Right, yeah.
Steve Martin used to wear.
Yeah.
So the historic bar in the historic Egyptian palace bar and hotel, it's got two pillars on either side, and those pillars look like a statue of Anubis and Set facing each other into the bar. But you can see that the paint and stuff, it hasn't been maintained for a while, so you can see it's flaking off and just plain plaster underneath, because like the rest of Mercy Falls, it's fake.
Indeed. You would notice that particularly, right, Morgan?
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking for anything to confirm this new worldview uncertainty.
I think it's still probably early in the day. It's not quite the dinner hour. And so the kid, you know, who has to wear his little thing is maybe not, you know, maybe you've seen them before, but like right now they're not waiting on your table. There's an older woman behind the bar who kind of like saw you come in, and like you guys sat down, and she's a fixture of the town. And she comes around, you might imagine a sort of like very like Jessica Lange, you know, like older woman, faded beauty, but like in her day it was really, you know, something, you know, blonde hair. She dyes it blonde, you know, keeps it blonde. And she comes around and she says, well, are you two just about done? You're not even supposed to be in here, considering that you're underage and this is still a bar.
Yeah, but I thought since I had the Pharaoh burger, I could be in here while I ate that, and I've got some fries left on my plate. I hand one over to Lilith.
Yeah, we're paying customers, and like Lilith is still high, right? So she giggles and then stifles a giggle, and she thinks everything's hilarious and looks around, and there's like one old guy on a slot. She's like, what?
And this woman, the proprietor of the hotel and bar, you know, I should mention that she's dressed very like she dresses in like a, you know, like a two-piece women's outfit, right? Like skirt and like nice blouse, you know. And she says, "Oh, you young girls, you think you've got everything in the palm of your hands. You think that it's always just going to be Pharaoh burgers and giggles for the rest of your days, don't you? But I've got news for you. Life catches up with you, and before you know it, there's only one thing that gets you out of bed every day, And then she like turns and looks very conspicuously at like the bar with like bottles of booze and a glass that she just had sitting down on the bar. Right. If you need anything else, just let me know. And she kind of like walks back over to the bar.
Lilith like tries to whisper but is high, so it's probably like a little louder than she thinks it is. And she's like, they sure work for their tips around here.
I think the problem is she hasn't had the tip for quite a while.
And like it's like hysterical laughter. I like collapse into laughter, and she's like probably gets a mean-spirited glance from the old lady, and she's like, maybe we should go though. She's legit starting to get pissed, I think.
Fine.
That's good. I'm gonna cut that scene right there. Jonah, you were following the delivery boy? Or were we doing something else? Or going to the forest? You can do either that you wish. It's fine.
I was thinking it would be cool to intersect that with Ellen's going to the house.
Okay. Oh, okay. Because you want to follow the delivery boy to Thomas's place. I'm into that. Okay.
Right.
I guess the question then is
just that, then.
Well, so I guess the question is like, Ellen, what time of day would you try to go to Thomas's house?
It's December, so it's probably getting dark early. So just as it's starting to get dusk.
So
heading
like
over there.
6 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Like okay. A couple hours after the school day. Jonah, is that cool with you? I mean, it's probably that might be right around the time when he's going to. Maybe you guys can meet up there. Unless you want to do the Gaze into the Abyss first. You just may not have time. So
yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, we're gonna I think what we do is we go to like the road by the road that leads to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just kind of like behind some bushes and trees, just keeping a watch out for this delivery guy. And I think we're gonna like follow him up the road when we see he drives by.
Yeah.
When we see him drive by, and then we're just gonna like watch what happens.
Nice.
That's my plan anyway. I tell Tony and Rhodey, I'm like, look, Thomas is super freaky, and as soon as we figure out what's really going on with him, we can get rid of him. So I know this is weird, but
dude, this is Rhodey. Dude, things have been so cool with the crew, you know, ever since Thomas has been gone. Why the fuck are we reintroducing this guy into our lives, man? I don't get it. What the fuck was up with the delivery? I mean, you saw, look at that delivery boy. Like, Thomas is fucking bad news, dude. Like, let's not.
Yeah, but you saw what happened. I mean, he wanted me to kill that guy, so he's not going to stop fucking with us until we get some leverage. So
he's like, man, all I want to do is I want to go into the woods, I want to fool around, rub mud on my body, and then fuck up the school dance. I don't think that's asking for too much.
and I walk up to him, and I think what I do is I think I grab his collar and pull him close, and I'm like, once Thomas is out of the picture, everything is going to be completely unleashed, and it'll be like you never imagined. And I look at him. All you have to do is do what I say. And I think that I have bought loyalty. I also have a string on him. I
mean, you have enough sway on him to where he's going to do the thing. I think. Well,
right.
Like you may have. This is pretty intense. You may have to pull. And I'm going to look at your conditions and see how those might affect the situation too.
I'm gonna lie.
I don't. Yeah, I think so. I think like basically, I think what's going on is, they've always been so committed to you, right? Like, and
Right.
they do all your weird shit because they're fundamentally all about you, right? Like that's the real moving part there. Is like against all their better judgment, they are really, really into you. And but the I am alive thing is a really good. I think that's a great entree to say no. They might be pushing back, right? They might be saying no, like, look, things are just returning to normal, and now you want to like get involved with this. I mean, this is fucking nuts. So yeah, do you want to pull strings or what?
And I think what I'll do is I'll use bot loyalty. So I'll be like, Brody, what do I got to do to get you completely on board here?
I think you're gonna have to threaten him physically. With Rhodey and Tony, that's always the route that you always have to go whenever they start to step out of line.
Yeah, so I'm like holding his collar and I say that, and then I think what I do is I I look at him like, you're just such a horn dog all the time. And, while I appreciate that, and then I like reach down and like grab his balls, and I'm just like, sometimes it gets in the way, and I'm just gonna like squeeze.
Nice. And he's just like, and he's just like, he kind of gets this like pained look on his face, and like he's, like, and his face is turning red, like he's scared to move, but he wants to pull away, right? And Tony's like, Jonah, man, come on, you don't have to do this. It's cool. We're gonna go up to the house. Don't worry about it. And Rhodey's just like,
and I'll just like let go and push Rhodey off, and I'll just like look at them. I'm like, you both better remember who's in charge here, or I'll make sure that you do.
They're like, yeah, man, it's cool. Don't worry about it. Yeah. And then I think so. You're gonna go. You're gonna head up basically behind the delivery guy.
If we see his lights go by, then we're totally going to like run after him, kind of in the trees a little bit.
So Ellen, do you want to already be at the house, or do you want to like run into Jonah and his group down the way, or what?
I imagine I've already arrived there, scuttling in the bushes. I'm waiting for. I heard the delivery guy has to be going back. He has to take that message back. So I am waiting, because when those gates open, it's to sneak in.
Yeah, and just out of character, just to be perfectly clear, out of character, he, in the intervening hours between homeroom and his encounter with Jonah, he did go back to the house, and Thomas was upset about the answer that he got, and then wanted the delivery boy to go kill himself. But it's perfectly reasonable for Ellen not to know that, right? But
absolutely, she has no idea.
Yeah. So yeah, you see him. He gets out, and he looks fucking terrified. He looks so scared. Like he is. Like he gets out of the car. He closes the door. I think he goes up to, there's a gate there, like, and he's going to press the button to like be let in. And he just looks so scared. And like, he actually, like, he kind of chickens out before pressing the button. And he kind of like, what are you going to say?
So if he turns to not press the button, I would like to reach up out of the darkness and hit the button.
I'm into that. Well, yeah, that's good. We'll do that. I was like, I like that. So he like turns away, and he's like, and he kind of like, and he just kind of like cries. Like he puts his face in his hands, and he just begins bawling. Like he's terrified and upset. And he's just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What do you do, Ellen?
Have I rung the doorbell yet?
If you want to.
Ding dong. Just to cap that. And then I go back into the darkness.
And this is at the gate, mind you, like, just to be clear, like, there's a little courtyard in the house, but it's the same idea. And he's like, You hear a voice. It's Thomas. I'm sitting here wondering why you're not fucking dead. And the guy like basically like runs up and like collapses like against the little voice box, right? Like against the little speaker, right? Like a desperation thing. And he's even like lost his, the strength in his legs a little bit, and it's kind of slunk down a little bit, right? And he's like, Thomas, I'm so sorry. Please, 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 I'm so sorry. I don't like just I'm so please forgive me. I promise I'll do better. I promise I'll do better. And you just hear the voice say, no, nope, 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 no. I told you to deliver those flowers. I told you to bring back the answer that I wanted, and you failed. And then I told you to go find fucking Jonah and have him take care of you, and you failed. And so now we have a couple of decisions to make. Ellen, during all this, what are you doing?
I'm trying to decide how dark I want to go.
I say go all the way dark.
All right. Well, then I think I loom up behind him, grab onto his neck, and begin to wrench it to snap this guy's neck.
Oh, a lash out physically? I love it.
Yes.
Try it. Let's see how it goes. Roll volatile.
It's going to go badly, but that's how it is. So reroll selected. So that will be a 6.
Yes.
Philip
asked in the chat, do we see all this? Yes. I think you absolutely see it, not only because like she has a transparent thing, right? But I don't even think you get so far as to like get to his neck, right? I think he spots you before you, like as you're coming out of the brush, right? He spots you, he sees you, and he's like, who the fuck are you? What are you doing here? And Jonah and Rhodey and Tony, you will have all seen this little transaction, right? Jonah, what do you do? How do you respond?
So she killed him, right?
She's going to, but failed.
Yeah, she didn't even like get her hands on him, right? She just got spotted and he turned around. I've got another move to make, but that's just the setup.
So. Yeah, I think that what we're going to do is we're going to sneak up to the side of the house. Like, seeing this, I'm kind of turning to Tony. I'm like, what the fuck is Ellen doing here? And so instead what we're doing is we're just going to like sneak to like the side of the house and try and like look in one of the windows or something and kind of watch the entryway or something.
I like that. I'm going to swing back and continue the rest of the other thing real quick. Thomas is like, Jesus Christ, now you're here. Well, here's the thing. Only one of you is walking through that gate. Only one of you. The other one is going to go back home and be fucking miserable. Be so fucking miserable because you are a useless piece of shit. You deserve to die, but are so fucking weak, you won't even be able to make that happen. You've got days of misery and pain to look forward to if you don't walk through that gate. And the only one that's walking through the gate is the one who grovels best right now. Stand over here, please, so I can see you fully in the camera.
Oh, man. Wow.
I'm giving whoever, if you take this option, you're getting a condition for it, but the delivery boy immediately like falls to his hands and knees and like to the camera and is just like pleading. He's like, please, please, please. He's got his hands like clasped tight. Like, Thomas, please let me go through the gate. I'm so, so sorry. I don't want anything. I want nothing more in the whole world than to be allowed to come in.
Wow.
Thomas is like, can you do any better, dead girl? I'm gonna cut to Jonah.
Yeah, please.
I'm gonna cut to the other group. Or what were you about to say, Philip?
Jonah was just gonna like turn to the other two, and he's like, "Man, everyone is so fucking pathetic right now."
I'm gonna cut to the other two.
Yeah, he's totally going to sneak around the back and go into the house and try and tag up the inside of the house with the boys while this is going down.
So Lilith and Margot, you know that Sister Mary Edward has a room at the hotel portion of this bar and hotel. There's basically like a little right off the side of the bar. There's a doorway and a little lobby, and then a kind of a hall that connects up to the rooms. It's like 2 stories. It's about 8 rooms total. What do you do?
On the way there, I want to be like, Margot, you need to promise me that you're not going to lose your shit, because like I think you're awesome, but you did try to kill me before, and I saw you kill somebody, and I don't think that's your fault. We all have shit going on.
This is a dinner, right? Because
Yeah.
the hotel's just like 2 steps away. So
yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, so you know my secret, and I know yours, but like I just have to know that whatever we're doing right now, could that like trigger you? Like, are you gonna freak out? Like, promise me that you're gonna let me know if you're gonna wolf out, because I need to GTFO if that happens.
I'll let you know when to run, Lilith. I'll let you know.
Are you promising me?
I promise you, I will let you know when it's time to GTFO, Lilith.
Excellent.
Now let's find out what room the bitch is in.
You make that promise. You can note that down. So you just go to like the lobby area or what? Or do you start roaming around? No one will stop you from just roaming around the halls.
Actually, what I was thinking I was going to do is that teenage waiter that was on shift early.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I'd like try to catch him when he's having like a smoke break or off bussing tables and do the whole kind of like turn him on thing where I kind of like lean in and see if I can just weasel out what room.
Yeah, I'm into that. So you find him maybe in the back, like smoking a cigarette, right?
Ooh, could he if he's a waiter, could he also be like a cleaner for the rooms or whatever, and I could like jack his card or something while Margot's trying to turn him on or something?
Yeah, that's possible too. Yeah, I mean, do you both want to be on scene here or what?
Oh, I was thinking Margot would be keeping him busy while maybe he like left his jacket.
You can probably steal the keys from somewhere else.
Headdress.
Yeah,
sure.
You can steal the keys from somewhere else. Yeah,
Cool.
it's a good idea. So he's back there. He's smoking a cigarette. And he's like, "Oh, hey, how was your Pharaoh burger?"
Bloody, just the way I like it.
He's like,
it was fine.
He's like, yeah. Personally, I'm a fan of the pyramid of Giza stacked onion rings, but the Pharaoh burger's okay too, I guess.
And I just like to make sure my breath is still fresh, and I'll just kind of blow into his face gently.
He's like, I think Adeline has some mints on the bar. If you
sure you can't help a girl out? I've got something you could help me with, and I'll kind of just run my finger down behind his ear and down his neck.
Do a turn on and see if this works. This seems like it's such an awkward thing for Margot to do, but I'm here for it.
I thought about trying to beat it out of him, but
yeah, trying new tactics. I'm here for it.
Ooh, I don't. Let's see. That was a 7, and my hot is +1. Oh, 8. Mixed result.
Okay. They can either give you a string or choose one of the reactions. You can have a string. Do you want to spend it?
Yeah, I'll spend that string right away and basically be, I just need to know where the nun is, and I can get you more of this stuff. And I hold up another blunt.
He's like,
Make your shifts go a little faster.
So you want to get into Sister Mary Edwards' room? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying I want to know what room she's in, but if you can help me get in, if you know where we can get a key card, a master key card, I can get you hooked up with all sorts of stuff.
He's like, I'll let you in. If you want to, stay in there for a little bit. And I don't know. I think it's like having sex on a nun's bed's kind of hot, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, what the fuck? Let's go do it.
That's not the reaction he thought he was going to get. I think he's like, really? I'm just fucking with you. Are you serious?
Well, if you just want to give me the key card, that's cool too.
He's like, all right, yeah. Like, come on, like, where's your redheaded friend? Like,
she's waiting for us. And I'll text Lilith and say meet us outside room XYZ.
He's like, all right, we'll come around the front. Let me just let me distract Adeline for a minute, and then we'll go up. And he goes and he tells the woman who runs the place kind of something, and she's like, you hear her say, "God damn it!" And then she goes to the back, and he's like, all right, coast is clear. And he just puts the key card in your guys' hands.
Thanks. And I pat him on the shoulder.
He's like, hurry up, though. She might. Sister Mary could be back at any time.
All right.
Let's go.
Okay. So, Jonah, you were going to break into the back of Thomas's house and just start vandalizing it, basically.
Yeah. I'm also going to look for anything relating to his creepiness, his fake creepiness.
I think like breaking into his house is probably a keep your cool situation, just because Thomas is a scary guy, right? And what might you be afraid is going to happen in this circumstance? What are you most afraid of?
I think what I'm afraid will happen is that he will I mean, I don't care if he finds me, but if he finds Rhodey or Tony and somehow tries to control them, I don't need his influence in them.
Oh,
like
God.
that.
I like that.
That would get in my way.
Yeah, it's good.
So,
give me keep your cool.
Okay. Oh, that is a 7.
You jump the fence, we'll say, into the backyard to go up to the back of the house. The backyard is strange. There is a huge amount of like overgrowth, right? But it's more than overgrowth. It's like thick walls of twisty vine, with thorns, with black roses running all along. It is large purple moths the size of your fist, like flittering around, right? There are little motes of light bouncing around here and there, but not like, oh, fairy light, more like a sort of like sickly green light, like will-o'-the-wisps, right? Like kind of bouncing and bobbing. And the smell is otherworldly. And the grass is like ghostly pale white. It looks like white, like white fiber. What do you call that? Fiber optics, white fiber optics. Like kind of swaying, on the ground. You're vulnerable because this is a place of power for Thomas. He has all the power here, right? Do you go forward or do you back down?
I'll go forward.
Okay. I do not have all night, Ellen. Are you going to display obeisance to me right now, or am I going to let this fucker in?
So I think that, she knocked the guy down. There was the tried to get at him. Now he's on his knees. She's got her backpack, like the strap of it, like held tight in her hands, like she was going to go strangle him with that. And I think that's the moment that she looks down, and there's probably a flash to a shot of her dad with a tie. And her kind of looking down at her own hands, her fingernails kind of biting into her hands with this, Hello Kitty backpack that she's got that's scuffed and wet from the snow. And I think she's pulling back from this. She wants to get away from this. She doesn't want to be here.
Yeah, give me runaway. Roll volatile.
Okay. So that's a 9.
All right, choose one from the list. You get away, but
I think I cause a big scene. I think it's a shrieking run into the woods. If there's any houses nearby, even close, they're hearing screams from Thomas's house and maybe calling the cops.
You might get someone's attention. Yeah.
I am screaming and running.
Yeah. I think I think his house is kind of up on a hill, so it might be, maybe that's not what's at stake, but someone's definitely going to notice. Hold that thought.
Okay.
Lilith, you're probably first in to the room.
Mm-hmm.
It is, it looks like you would expect a nun's room to look. There's a cross on the wall. It's very, very like plain looking, just Spartan, right?
Yeah.
Simple bed, plain blanket, a Bible right on the nightstand, that kind of thing. She does have like a box with papers and things like that, and of course all of her nun wear hanging in the closet. What do you do?
I'm of two minds with this. Either like tossing the place essentially to try to find some evidence that she's got some weird stuff going on, or gazing into the abyss like at this cross and trying to like divine something that way.
God, I just have to say this right now because it's stuck in my brain. Last night at Metatopia, we were talking about the topic of like man spreading came up. I think we were talking about Gauntlet Daddy or the new Gauntlet Daddy or something, and then someone brought up like I kind of like we were talking about what the next one would look like, and I was like, oh yeah, I think he's going to be a devil with his arms like up like this, like with a little staff or whatever. And somebody said like, oh yeah, like oh, that's kind of cool, like Jesus on the cross or whatever. And then Michael Heiligenstein goes, the original man spreader. He was a little drunk, but yeah, it was pretty good. It got a very hearty laugh from the table. So yeah,
I bet.
Still makes me giggle. Sorry, I should have thought it was stuck in my brain. Good. Sorry, let's get back on track.
I think
Yeah,
the
so
I
what's your
think the
plan?
gazing I think the gazing would fit better for Mercy Falls, right? Where I'm just sort of like stuck in this weird reverie at this cross to try to divine something, and then if something goes wrong or something goes right, it still is like a little bit of strangeness that Margot can interact with versus a more pedestrian thing of just like looking through her room.
So you're taking the cross down and holding it, or gazing at it? Like what are you physically doing?
I imagine it's like above the bed, so I think she's standing on the bed and pushing her hand on it, and just like kind of yeah, it goes into a weird, strange place where she's examining the cross in like a more of an external way than
I love it. Roll gaze into the abyss plus dark.
dark. I think I'm good at that. Yeah. Reroll. 6, 7, barely.
On a 7-9, the abyss shows you confusing and alarming visions, but you get your answer nonetheless. And what specifically do you want to know?
I want to know if she is what she says she is. Like this if this room is a facade or is it her true self essentially?
Hmm. You have a vision of it's kind of like in first person, right? Like you are in the perspective of the person doing the thing. You're in what appears to be some sort of like village, like some kind of like African village. It's a part of the world that you're not familiar with, but you see like people wearing like sort of traditional dress, black skinned people milling about or whatever, and this this person that you're kind of embodying at this moment um, is approaching a small, um, I guess like a hut and or a shack or something, and you're approaching it, and like there are people like who see you approaching it, and they like get like scared or emotional, and they turn away from you. But you just keep pressing forward. You keep stepping forward, walking toward that hut, and you look down, and in your hand, you're clutching that very cross. It's clutched in your hand, but it's got something like on the end of it, like a sharp, like a stiletto or a spike that's been like screwed onto the end, right? And you're moving in there, and you go inside the hut, and there's just a person like hunkered down, um, a person hunkered down like on all fours, their eyes like burning red, like bloodshot and red, and they're just like snarling and snapping, and like feral bestial, right? It reminds you a little bit of Margot, actually. And just like, but not like huge, like wolf-like, more cat-like, right? And they're just like hissing and jumping and backing around, and you, occupying the person that you're occupying, you say, "I've done everything I can for you, and there's only one answer left, I fear." And then you step forward, and the thing is like jumping and biting and snapping, but you just like effortlessly like kind of like push its head against the wall and hold it there while this thing um, flails around, and you take that cross and you just like jam it into their neck, right? And there's a spray of blood, and then it cuts.
Do I get any emotion from it too? Like what I was feeling when I was doing
Good
that?
question. No,
No.
the emotion you feel is like,
It's like watching a TV of this thing happening. Like I'm in
no,
a
you
room
feel
and
something, but you feel like a sort of like a relief, or a um, like a sense of like, I wish it didn't have to be this way, but this is the way it had to be.
okay.
And let's take our last little quick break. We'll come back and do wrap up scenes, okay? getting pretty tough and intense up in Mercy Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Things
Love
don't stay normal for long.
Yeah.
They do not. They do not. Give Philip a minute, and then we'll get going. Yeah, I'm personally like kind of a slow. I'm really like slow walking this like Sister Mary introduction, right? Like we haven't seen her on screen on purpose. So.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things about her that could go either way, really.
Yeah.
So I like how fiction like this always plays with your like perception of it through the characters. They're always like, "Oh, this is so crazy," and then sometimes it ends up being like a really pedestrian answer to it, and other times it's like the opposite, and it's something really crazy that you would, like they just turn it up to 10 for supernatural and weird and stuff.
I've done like a sort of like menacing nun character before in Monsterhearts, but like in a different mode. Like I've done this sort of like tropey, like classic, like sadistic nun, right? Like the cruel sadistic nun who wants to, who like, punishes the students like with corporeal punishment or corporal punishment, all that stuff. Um, I wanted to specifically, I wanted to go in a different direction, like with this nun character. I was trying to, I always like fall back on that like cruel sadistic nun, right? I don't think Sister Mary Edward is that. In fact, I'm going out of my way to make her seem really nice and really like eminently reasonable and a balm for the community, right? So.
Yeah, like I like the idea that if it was a TV show, when Lilith opens the door, you're not really quite sure what you'll find there, right? Like maybe you'll find the book of like fear is the heart of love or something, or instead, you get the subverted expectations of just like, no, yeah, she's a nun. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. Jonah, are you there and just off camera, or he's probably just still needs a minute? I think, I think we're going to end up with some really good like cliffhangery scenes for next time. So, and this one is scheduled for 3 sessions, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because of Thanksgiving. That's why I didn't do a 4th. Oh, that's why I made them longer too. So, awesome. We would naturally cut to the next scene from you having seen your vision. Ellen, you're just running, screaming down the path.
Yes.
Someone like kind of steps onto the path and like you like collapse, run right into them, right? It's Sister Mary Edward, and she had like a big black case in her hands, like a big doctor's bag, and she kind of drops that as you like kind of slam into her, but she doesn't budge. I mean, she kind of catches you or whatever, and she says, whoa, hey, what's going on? Well, calm down.
Just, I think she opens her mouth and like no noise comes out. Like she's in that kind of fugue state that she gets, that she doesn't know what to say. It's only kind of coming into focus that this is Sister Mary, and that might be bad. Like, but her freak out is just so at the top of her attention right now.
She's trying to calm you down. She's trying to calm you down, and she's like, hey, I don't. She's like, here, come here. Like, let's. And she, you can see now that she has her car. She's kind of parked her car up like off the side of the path, like kind of pulled it up into a little, like into the gravelly or dirt part, and there's some trees all around. And she says, hey, come here, come get in my car. Let's just talk about this. Are you okay? Are you okay?
And she's doing that thing where she's shivering not because she's cold, but because she thinks she ought to be cold. And she's still got that backpack and the bloody hands in her, here.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, didn't want to kill him. Said that but he wanted him dead. I don't understand.
She takes your hand and she says, child, come with me. Come, get in the car. Come on. And she takes you to the car.
She always usually follows orders, so she will go with her.
I think she drives a like a Buick, it's like some kind of like a caddy, like a sort of like big like Cadillac, right? Like kind of like an older woman car, right? Old lady car. That's what my grandmother drives. She only buys Cadillacs. It's like her thing. Like if it's not a Cadillac, it's not a car to her. So like she, and the more boat like, the better, right? And yeah, so she opens the door and you sit down in there, and she comes around and she sits down and she says, do you pray? Are you a believer? Or are you, it's okay if not. Don't be intimidated by the fact that I'm a nun, but
No, there's nothing.
no, okay. Well, let's just sit and meditate for a minute. How about that? Just to kind of calm down and center ourselves to what's going on. I've seen you. I've seen you at school. We haven't had a chance to talk yet, but I'm Sister Mary Edward Price, and she's like she's not a very big woman. She's kind of like, she's an older woman. You might imagine a sort of like, she's kind of mousy even, and she says, Ellen. You didn't tell her your name before, right? Would you just close your eyes right now?
And of course, Ellen's like 6 foot, but she's kind of shrunk down because this woman has more sort of force, and you're in that sort of the couch front seat that is those big cars, and there's some hesitation, but she'll close her eyes.
She says, good. Ellen, I want you to listen very, very carefully to the sound of my voice. What you saw at the top of the hill is bad and scary. There's a bad, bad person who lives in that house. But that bad person is not going to be around for much longer. Ellen, I can tell just by looking at you that you have experienced trauma. It's practically etched on your face. I can see it. It is utterly transparent to me. Tell me what you have experienced, Ellen. And her voice sounds like it's getting like more distant, almost like coming from the back of your mind, right? Like it's like you feel like you're floating in a black space and you're just hearing her voice. Tell me what happened, Ellen. You can unfurl your cares at my feet, and I will pick each one of them up, pass it back and forth between my hands, and consider it, and then give it back to you with no power whatsoever. A bauble, a tiny thing that you can put in a drawer and forget about. tell me everything. And we're going to cut there.
Perfect.
Before I get to Jonah. Margot. Lilith, what would you be, how would you be reacting, or what would you be doing as you're having your little scene here?
Yeah, I think it would be neat if it's clearly showing me going through a thing. Like maybe I'm despondent for a few minutes even, and what brings me back is Marco even like shaking me or something. Maybe I even collapse on the bed and it looks seizure-ish or something, or my eyes look distant, something like that.
Let's have that scene. Yeah.
Hey, Red, you okay?
Yeah, I like shake and come out of it, and I'm like, I don't think, I think I'm okay, but I don't think that the sister is who we think she is. And I tell you what I saw.
Well, that lines up kind of with my vision.
But why would she keep trying to separate us and like put
It's what you do. You pick off the sheep at the edge of the herd. They're weaker when they're alone.
Well, I don't think that, like in that vision, it seemed like she was hunting monsters. We're not monsters.
Doesn't mean she doesn't think we're monsters. Adults. They're nuts.
But she's almost getting our parents to treat us better. Why would she do that? Is it like a last meal for us or something?
I don't know. So you didn't get anything, though, about why she's here right now. Just what she's done.
Just one thing that she's done. And the, like, determination that she had doing it, knowing that it was, like, the right thing to do to like, kill this thing or person or monster.
I don't like her being here. Feels really dangerous. Like, maybe we should do something about that.
Well, what are we going to do to her? She's like an adult. And apparently she walks around with spikes and stuff.
I don't know. We'll figure something out. We'll get her fixed. Think we better get out of here, though. And I am just going to grab the hotel notepad and the pen that's always next to it and write, "We know you're fake." Just put that on the blotter.
Nice. Good. Jonah. You're stepping through the backyard, and I've described this sort of gloomy nature scene, right? This gloomy pastoral, right? Motes of sickly green light, moths, vines, flowers, white luminescent grass.
I think what Jonah does is he takes off all his clothes, puts them in his bag, and puts on his mask. So he's just naked with his mask and his backpack on.
Classic Jonah move.
he's feeling it.
What about Rhodey and Tony? What do you want them to do? How are they? They're a little freaked out, by the way. They're just like, dude, this is too weird, even for you, Jonah. Come on, man.
And I look at him and I'm like, nothing is too weird for me.
I'm the weirdest thing, damn it.
And he's like, now take off your fucking clothes and follow my lead. And I think what he does is he doesn't have more skull masks. So what he does is he rips the rest of his shirt to make like blindfolds. Mm-hmm. not maybe not blindfolds, maybe like just like masks of a sort.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. The back door goes into like the kitchen. Okay. There's like a kitchen. The lights are off. The sort of grayish pink light of dusk is kind of like just barely, billowing in from into the window. And Rhodey, of course, immediately opens the refrigerator to see if he can steal food. Right. He opens it up and there's just like a ton of like dragonflies and other insects just kind of like fly out. And he's like, oh fuck. He kind of like flails around, slams it closed.
I like whack him in the back of the head. I'm like, take this, start tagging. And I hand him like a spray can.
Nice. And then while you're doing that, doing your little spray painting, you see something roll into the room. You might imagine like a contortionist, like a circus performer or a contortionist, twisted up like kind of on like kind of backwards on their hands and legs, but then curled even further like a wheel, right? And they like roll in, and they're wearing that like metal mesh bodysuit that covers top to bottom, right? Like covers every surface of their body. And they roll in, and they're twisted up like a little, almost like a little tight ball, but backwards, right? And they roll in, and then they like unfurl themselves so that they're like standing up right in front of you, right?
Okay.
And he says, I'm afraid I can't let you go any further. This is the end of the line for you.
I think that there's like a big fucking knife on the kitchen counter right there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm just going to pick that up and swing it at
Lash out
this
physically.
person. Yeah. That is a 6.
Market experience.
All right.
There are now more of these characters. They just stand up, like, kind of like creepily, like kind of like just stand up and like all around you. And they grab Rhodey and Tony and subdue him easily. And this one, he just like you go for the knife and you slash into him, and it doesn't even like pierce the metal mesh, right? And he like reaches his hand up and he tightens his grip, and you just feel your trachea being crushed, and your blood is bubbling up in your mouth. You cannot make a sound. You're at 4 harm.
Shit. Okay.
We'll put a pin in that for now. Tell me everything, Ellen. What happened to you, child? And I'm going to say she had a string on you and pull strings and say, you get an XP if you tell her that your parents killed you.
Oh, yeah, I think I just say they keep killing me. Over and over and over.
That's session. Yeah, we're good.
There we go.
You can mark an experience. Good. Awesome. I'll be on Discord in a couple minutes, but just at the outset, that was really great. So if anybody wants to join on Discord, that's awesome. If not, I will see you next week. I'm going to stop this.